Well, not everybody is willing to pay $800 to $900 for a premium flagship unlocked smartphone. So today, AJ and I are going to look at a phone that costs around $400 unlocked, and this is from Motorola. It's the G4 Plus.
You know, the one thing I have to say is that you don't really need to spend. I was going to say, why would you? But I know why you would. But you don't need to spend up there on those price points for these different phones, because these things have so many things. But look at the screen built into 5.5-inch screen.
Yep.
It's got an HD screen. It's got the fingerprint reader.
Yep.
I mean, this thing is loaded with specs. I'm impressed.
It's 401 pixels per inch. If you just look at the flagship phones like 2-3 years ago, you know, that would have been a premium phone. So when you think about what you pay and what you get, you're going to really get a good value out of this phone.
Yeah, I really like the fact that the Motorola design is really sort of adopting to that sort of Android look and feel as well. So this definitely feels like a Google-based phone.
Yes, and because Motorola was owned by Google, it's now owned by Lenovo, and I think that was a great acquisition, because Lenovo, trying to get into the North American market, they bought a reputable brand. Like Motorola's been around since like the mid-90s, so it was a good thing. They haven't changed too much on this phone. It feels very Google-ish, but in terms of the look and feel, it's a great bargain for what you pay for.
Well, again, just to look at some of the specs, we talked about the 5.5-inch screen. It's got a relatively sort of decent-sized weight to it. What I liked is it had a 3,000 milliamp battery, which, again, it's a bigger screen, so you need to power that for a longer period of time, but that's also going to last a long time as well, which is, I think, important for anyone that has a phone, especially if you're sort of a road warrior. You
know, we're seeing that all these phones, even the flagship phones, don't have that battery life that can last like 2-3 days, but what they've done on this one is have quick charge. So within 15 minutes, you can get about 6 hours of use, and we tested this out, and we got about 10 to 12% in about 10 minutes. So you are getting that quick charge when you buy a mid-range phone now.
You know what I thought was interesting as well? The back cover actually can pop off, and you can see why it's an inexpensive phone, because it's a simple plasticky kind of cover. There's nothing really, you know, high-end materials there. But what I thought was interesting is it does give you access to the SIM and the memory, but you don't actually have a removable battery there.
Yes, that was an interesting design point, but I do like the fact that you can open the back. You could put a micro SD card on there and get an additional 256 gigs of internal storage, which is great if you take a lot of photos. So the camera on here is actually pretty good. 16 megapixels on the back, 5 megapixels on the front with an ultra-wide lens. So if you're doing selfies with your friends, you can get everybody in that shot.
You know, I'll have to say that the camera at 60 megapixels definitely isn't the camera compared to some of the sort of premier phones. You know, we're seeing upwards of 25 megapixels on some of the high-end phones, but still, like Andy says, it's a great camera. So if you're willing to give up some of the really high-end stuff for the high-end finish, this Motorola phone actually has a lot to offer.
So if you are looking for a budget-friendly phone, you got to check it out. It's from Motorola. It's the Moto G4 Plus.